3 months ago, I got a call from a retired veteran named Robert. He was 68 years old, living on Social Security, and worried that rising costs were eating away at his retirement. Like many seniors, he believed he was already receiving every benefit available to him. He thought there was nothing else to claim. But after spending just 30 minutes reviewing his financial situation, I noticed several opportunities he had completely overlooked. What started as a simple benefits review quickly turned into a journey that would uncover nearly $100,000 in potential value. Before we go any further, this isn't a story about loopholes or tricks. Everything we did was completely legal and based on programs that already existed. The problem was that nobody had shown Robert where to look. As we reviewed Robert's paperwork, one thing stood out immediately. He had served in the military decades earlier, but had never filed for VA disability compensation. This is more common than you might think. Many veterans assume that if they didn't file when they left service, it's too late. Others believe their medical conditions aren't severe enough to qualify. Robert had developed several health issues over the years that could potentially be connected to his service. So we began gathering medical records, military documents, and supporting evidence. What surprised him was learning that disability compensation isn't just about current payments. In some cases, veterans may qualify for substantial retroactive benefits depending on their circumstances. Suddenly, what seemed like a routine review became a serious financial opportunity. Most people underestimate how quickly benefits can add up. Let's look at simple math. Imagine someone qualifies for an additional $2,000 per month in benefits. Over a year, that's $24,000. Over 5 years, that's $120,000. And that's before considering cost of living adjustments or other programs they might qualify for. When I showed Robert these numbers, he was shocked. Like many retirees, he focused on what he received each month, rather than the long-term value of those benefits. That's a mistake millions of Americans make. Small monthly increases can create six-figure differences over time. This was the moment Robert realized that maximizing benefits isn't about chasing free money. It's about making sure you've earned every dollar you're legally entitled to receive. The deeper we looked into Robert's situation, the more questions appeared. Most retirees focus on their bank account balance, but very few take the time to examine every government benefit, tax credit, healthcare subsidy, and retirement option available to them. Robert was no different. He had spent years assuming that if he qualified for something, someone would automatically tell him. Unfortunately, that's not how the system works. Many programs require applications, supporting documents, and follow-up actions. As we organized his paperwork, we discovered gaps that had existed for years, missing records, outdated information, and unclaimed opportunities were scattered throughout his financial history. What surprised Robert most was realizing that these missed opportunities weren't hidden. They were publicly available. The challenge was knowing where to look and understanding how the different programs work together. One of the biggest mistakes retirees make involves Social Security claiming strategies. Most people claim as soon as they become eligible because they fear missing out. But timing can have a huge impact on lifetime income. I explained to Robert that every month matters. Claiming early can permanently reduce benefits, while delaying can significantly increase them. The difference may seem small on paper, but over a retirement that lasts 20 or 30 years, those monthly increases can add up to tens of thousands of dollars. We reviewed his filing history, benefit estimates, and future projections. What looked like a routine retirement decision suddenly became one of the most important financial choices of his life. Robert began to understand that retirement planning isn't just about saving money, it's about maximizing every source of income available. To put everything into perspective, I showed Robert a simple example. Imagine finding an additional benefit worth $2,000 per month. That sounds helpful, but most people stop there. Now multiply it by 12 months. That's $24,000 every year. Multiply that by 5 years, and you're looking at $120,000. Suddenly, a small monthly payment doesn't seem. This calculation completely changed how Robert viewed retirement benefits. He stopped thinking in terms of monthly checks and started focusing on long-term value. That's exactly what many seniors miss. The biggest opportunities are often hidden in plain sight, because people underestimate the power of consistent income. A few $100s here and there can become life-changing amounts when viewed over a longer time horizon. Next, we turned our attention to healthcare. This is where many retirees lose thousands of dollars every year without realizing it. Premiums, deductibles, prescriptions, and out-of-pocket expenses can quietly drain retirement savings. Robert had accepted these costs as unavoidable. But after reviewing his coverage, we identified areas where he could potentially reduce expenses and improve benefits at the same time. Even saving a few $100s per month can create significant long-term value. What many people don't realize is that every dollar saved on healthcare is a dollar that remains available for housing, food, travel, or emergencies. Retirement isn't only about increasing income. Sometimes it's about reducing unnecessary expenses and keeping more of what you already have. Then came the moment that changed everything. As we reviewed timelines, applications, and eligibility dates, we started discussing retroactive benefits, often called back pay, depending on the program and circumstances. Some approved claims can include payments covering prior periods of eligibility. Robert had never even heard the term before. When I explained how retroactive calculations work, he immediately became interested. If a person qualifies for benefits and meets specific requirements, the value of those payments can sometimes accumulate into surprisingly large amounts. We weren't making assumptions or guarantees. We were simply following the rules and reviewing the facts. Yet for the first time, Robert realized that his potential opportunity wasn't measured in hundreds of dollars. It could be measured in tens of thousands. The next step wasn't exciting, but it was essential. Documentation. Every successful claim depends on evidence. Medical records, service records, tax documents, identification, and supporting paperwork all matter. Many people give up during this stage because it feels overwhelming. Robert nearly did. Some records were decades old. Others required requests, follow-ups, and patience. But I reminded him that large financial outcomes are often built on small administrative tasks. Every document we collected strengthened the case. Every missing record we found improved the picture. Progress wasn't measured in dollars yet. It was measured in preparation. The better organized we became, the stronger our position would be when decisions were eventually made. At this point, Robert asked me a question that stuck with me. If these opportunities exist, why doesn't everyone claim them? The answer is surprisingly simple. Most people are too busy living their lives. They assume someone else is monitoring their eligibility. They believe benefits will automatically appear if they qualify. They don't review old decisions, update records, or seek professional guidance. As a result, opportunities are missed every single day. It's not because people are careless. It's because financial systems are often complex. Understanding the rules requires time, effort, and attention to detail. Robert realized that his situation wasn't unique. Millions of Americans may be overlooking benefits, simply because they don't know what questions to ask. After submitting everything, the hardest part began: waiting. Many people think filing a claim produces immediate results. In reality, patience is often required. Weeks passed with little news, then months during that time. Robert experienced the same doubts that many applicants face. Did we miss something? Was the effort worth it? Would anything actually happen? I reminded him that successful outcomes often require persistence. The paperwork was complete. The evidence was submitted. Now the process needed time. While waiting can be frustrating, it's important to remember that large financial decisions often move slower than people expect. The key is staying organized, responding to requests, and remaining patient throughout the journey. About 2 months into the process, we received encouraging news. It wasn't an approval yet, but it confirmed that progress was being made. Additional information had been reviewed, and the claim continued moving forward. For Robert, this was a huge morale boost. After years of assuming nothing could change, he finally had evidence that action produces results. Many people abandon opportunities too early. They submit an application, encounter delays, and assume failure. Persistence often separates successful outcomes from missed opportunities. The journey wasn't over, but for the first time, Robert could see a realistic path toward a significantly better financial future. While waiting, we continued analyzing potential outcomes. Suppose a claim resulted in $2,500 per month. Over 24 months, that would equal $60,000 in retroactive value. Then imagine another approved benefit worth $1,500 per month during the same period. That's another $36,000 combined. Those two figures add even modest additional savings or reimbursements, and the total surpasses $100,000. These weren't promises. They were examples designed to demonstrate how quickly benefits can accumulate. For Robert, seeing the math transformed the process from abstract paperwork into something tangible. He understood exactly why careful planning and proper applications matter so much. Then the day finally arrived. An official decision landed in Robert's mailbox. The months of gathering documents, completing applications, and answering questions had led to this moment. Opening that envelope felt like the final scene of a movie. Regardless of the outcome, Robert knew he had done everything possible. That's an important lesson in itself. Many people never apply because they're afraid of rejection, but a guaranteed rejection occurs every time you fail to submit an application. By taking action, Robert at least gave himself a chance. Now it was time to see whether that effort would pay off. The result wasn't magic. It wasn't a loophole. It wasn't free money. It was the outcome of identifying eligibility, collecting evidence, and following established procedures. Some benefits were approved, others required additional review, but overall, the financial impact was substantial. Robert's monthly income improved, and the value of retroactive payments dramatically exceeded his expectations. For years, he had believed his financial situation was fixed. In reality, opportunities had existed all along. The difference was that someone finally took the time to investigate them properly. The money mattered, but something else changed too. Confidence. Financial stress affects almost every aspect of life. Before this process, Robert worried constantly about inflation, medical bills, and unexpected expenses. Afterward, he felt more secure. He knew where his income was coming from. He understood his benefits. He had a clearer picture of his future. That's something many financial discussions overlook. Money isn't only about numbers, it's about peace of mind. Knowing you've maximized your resources can be just as valuable as the dollars themselves. Looking back, the biggest mistake Robert made wasn't filing late. It wasn't misunderstanding a benefit. It wasn't failing to save enough money. His biggest mistake was assuming he already knew all his options. That's a trap many people fall into. We stop asking questions because we think we've already found the answers. But financial systems evolve, programs change, eligibility requirements shift, new opportunities emerge. Regular reviews can reveal possibilities that weren't available years earlier. Staying informed is one of the most powerful financial habits anyone can develop. At this point, you may be wondering whether you're overlooking something similar. The truth is, I don't know. Every situation is different, but I do know that reviewing your finances, benefits, and retirement strategy can be incredibly valuable. Even if you don't uncover six figures, identifying smaller improvements can still make a meaningful difference. A few $100s per month may not sound dramatic, but over time it can transform your financial future. The first step is simply being willing to ask questions and explore your options. If there's one lesson from Robert's story, it's this. Don't assume you've already claimed everything you're entitled to receive. Verify, Review. Ask questions. Seek professional guidance when appropriate. Too many people leave opportunities untouched because they never investigate them. The financial world rewards curiosity. Those willing to learn, review documents, and understand the rules often discover possibilities that others miss. The goal isn't to chase unrealistic promises. The goal is to make informed decisions based on facts. So, did I help a senior claim $100,000 in 90 days? In this story, the answer came from persistence, research, mathematics, and understanding available programs. There was no secret formula, no overnight success, just careful analysis and consistent effort. That's why I wanted to share this story, not because everyone will find six figures, most won't, but because the process teaches a powerful lesson. Opportunities often exist where people least expect them. The people who benefit most aren't always the smartest or the luckiest. They're the ones willing to take action, review the facts, and keep moving forward. If you found this story helpful, make sure you subscribe to Dave Explains Finance, where we break down complex financial topics into simple, practical lessons.